As filmmakers, we always get obsessed about the new cameras or the extra sharp lenses, but once you have a pretty decent setup, what really comes down to getting the job done or not is the smaller essential items that are in your bag or on your rig that help you get the job done. So today I want to lay out 8 small, cheap, but essential items to always have in your kit that is easy just to throw in a bag and to always have so that no matter what pops up, you're ready for it. All right, so first up is this SmallRig multi-tool. This is about $30. You can find it at B&H, Amazon, or on SmallRig's website. And I have one of these everywhere. I have one in every single one of my camera bags, in my sound bag. I have one in my car. And the main reason I have the SmallRig multi-tool with me at all times is this bad boy right here. This is obviously what you use to screw on tripod plates. And if you've ever been in a situation where you thought your tripod plate was on your camera, but it turns out it wasn't, and you end up, bending your car keys or something like that. It comes with 5 different sizes of Allen wrenches, and a lot of camera gear and camera rigs have a variety of things. So it's nice to have one of each on here. So SmallRig multi-tool, put one in every single one of your bags, and it is a great accessory to have, and it's only 30 bucks. Next up, we got the Red Zippies. And I hear a lot of people talk about the bongo ties, and I have bongo ties as well, but to be honest, I hate them. The nice thing about the Red Zippies that the bongo ties can't do is you can really clamp things down. These are really useful in a few ways. If you just have a bunch of cords in your bag and they're flying all over the place, zip them up. Keeps things organized a little better. But also, when you're working with a camera rig, so if you got a couple cords, maybe one run into a microphone, another one run into your monitor, it gets pretty unruly. Strap these suckers down with a Red Zippy. Very useful to have them on here to keep your rig clean and not so messy. A pack of 10 of these costs about 10 bucks, so each one is less than $1. And these specific ones are the Photo and Tech Multi-Purpose Extra Thick Elastic Cable Tie and Organizer, Adjustable Cable Strap, Toggle Tie, Reusable Tangle Tamer, Ink Cable Management, or Cord and Cable. 10 count. Official title. We have these fairly new products from SmallRig. These are little cable clamps that you can stick on your rig. So it has a little screw inside, if you can see right here. So this is sort of a permanent fixture on your rig. You have a setup for your rig that is always running the same cables in the same direction. Then something that's a little more permanent, that's a little more stable like this is very useful. Just attach this on there with your very useful SmallRig multi-tool and probably run it the way the cords go. And then, just like the cable ties, you just slide them in. So great for audio cords, great for HDMI cords, especially thin ones, SDI cords, and they're the SmallRig cable clamps, and they're about $14. Nice way to keep your rig nice and clean. The last tiny little thing in the world of cable management is a little sprig. And these are maybe the most useful. They're not as secure as something like a Red Zippy or a cable clamp, but they're much smaller, much more discreet, and they just push right into any 1/4 quarter connector, and then you can just slide your cords right into the sprig itself. Definitely keeps it from flopping around. So these sprigs, a 6-pack on B&H will cost $16. So again, very cheap, nice to have, good for cable management. Moving on from sort of the cable management section of the program, we have little bubbles. If you're using a mirrorless camera, a lot of them have built-in levels now, which is awesome, but a lot of cinema cameras don't, including the C70, which is over here, and the C300. I don't know why camera manufacturers don't put electronic levels on your screen. It's the greatest thing ever, but until they do, I always have some of these on all of my rigs. These are just little cold shoe bubbles, and you can slide them in like so. And so it's just there on the top of your rig, like this. While you're shooting, you can just glance down and make sure that your shooting is level. Really helpful when it's on the tripod because, sometimes it's hard to look beneath the camera to look at the tripod level, or especially when it's dark. Sometimes it's easier just to see if your camera is level. And ultimately that's what you want anyway, is the camera being level. So having little bubbles on your rig at all times is very useful, very cheap. You can find them on Amazon. To make sure you are not shooting crooked, unless you're trying to, then go for it. So next is cold shoe mounts, and I have a bunch of different types of cold shoe mounts always in my kit because they're very cheap and often very useful. So these are the 3 that I often use. I use a 15mm rod system, which means all of my accessories, my microphone, my monitors are all hooked to 15mm rods that I can change out to be longer, shorter, depending on what I'm shooting. I like to have a really stripped down rig, but sometimes you go on a shoot and the director wants a wireless monitor. And so sticking on a wireless transmitter to a receiver, I can easily just throw this on my 15mm rod system and go ahead and stick a transmitter on there. Other versions of this one I use with mirrorless cameras quite a bit because, as you know, mirrorless cameras only have one cold shoe mount, and if you don't want to use a camera cage or rig, which I often do not like to, I'll just stick this into the top cold shoe mount so I can put a microphone and a lavalier on there at the same time, or something like the Rode Wireless Go. Having a bunch of these little cold shoe mounts, different attachments, NATO rails are also very popular, very useful. Next up is this small backpack. And it doesn't have to be this small backpack. This is a Low Pro. I think it's about $40, so it's not very expensive at all. But any small bag will do. And I think of this as sort of my while I'm shooting bag. I have my nice roller case. I have my nice backpack, which I take to set or to the shoot. But once I'm actually there, this is where I keep my necessities. And for me, the necessities are whatever I need to do the job by myself on the day. If I'm DPing a dock, I often will not have an assistant camera to run me batteries or bring me a second lens. So I always have everything I need on me, and something small that's easy to transport, that's easy to have on you, doesn't feel too heavy is great. A lot of people use sling bags. I don't like sling bags. Puts too much pressure on a single shoulder. I like a backpack on the back, and it feels pretty unintrusive and non-cumbersome. So a small backpack, have it on set, have it with you at all times, especially for dock DPs when you're in the field and you are in charge of getting everything you need done. This is a great thing to have with you at all times. So another nice thing to have, especially for solo shooters or small crews, is just a really simple blackout curtain. And I just have a small backpack, not too dissimilar from the one I just showed, that I hold 5 or 6 of these in at all times with some small curtain rods, the ones that twist out. The number one thing for good lighting is controlling the lighting. So if you can't control light that's coming in from the sun or from outside or from an outdoor light, whatever it might be, you can use these to block that light. And they're not just also for blocking windows, you can use them as negative fill. You can hang them on a stand next to your interviewer to give them a little bit more contrast on the far side. So this is awesome to have, cheap, buy them at Walmart, buy them at Target, whatever you want. Control your lighting a little bit more. Last thing is media management. It's one of the most important things on set and afterwards. And so I have 2 that I use all the time. This is a Polar Pro hard case, and then this is just a softer case, Tenba for SD card holders. All right, so the Polar Pro one I like a lot because I am a C300 and C7D shooter. So that's often my A cams and B cams. Inside it has 4 slots, but the 4 slots are all dual purpose. So you can stick a SD card down underneath and put a CFS Express card over the top of it. Ta-da! So you can actually hold 8 cards in this. It is robust, and my easy system is I'll have cards I don't shoot over here, and then when I shoot a card, I just turn it upside down and stick it on the other side to know that those are shot and that these are still ready to go and can be recorded on. Not very expensive either. And then a little cheaper and a little bit simpler is just this zip up Tenba. Never compromise. Always remember that. Never compromise. Thanks, Tenba. And you can put CF Express cards in here, SD cards, kind of everything. I usually put my backup SD cards in here if I don't have them in my Polar Pro. The nice thing about this one is it's easier just to have in your pocket. Keep your cards organized, know what you've shot, know what you haven't shot, and don't get caught in the cold where you're sticking your SD card in your pocket, because that's a dumb idea. For example. I just had those in my pocket. A whole collection of these, probably $100, throw in the bag and the blackout curtain, and you're still probably under $200. So it's just items that are cheap, inexpensive, nice to have, they help you get the job done, and that's what's most important, is actually getting the job done. Gear that is not flashy, not sexy, but very, very useful, and best of all, cheap. All right, so thanks for watching. I will have some more tools and gear reviews coming up, so go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.